Good afternoon, everybody, and what a way to start the Sunset Safari with, of course, a big male lion here in the Sabi Sand. My name is Taylor, and on camera with me today bringing you the most amazing footage is Sebastian. And well, this is a live and interactive safari. Perhaps this is your first time watching us. A big warm welcome to all of you. You can hashtag Safari Live on Twitter with any questions that you may have for us. But should we have another look at our friend over here? Now, he hasn't actually moved at all from where we left him this morning. He's sitting in exactly the same spot. In fact, he's actually moved further away from the guarri tree now. He hasn't got his face shoved into it. And he is still hot. He is still full, and for now, he doesn't seem to look like he's going to be doing anything else other than digesting all of that zebra that is in his belly. And occasionally, he stares at us, he opens his eyes and reveals his beautiful golden color that he has got as, well, his eyes. It is really a fantastic afternoon. I was a bit worried. I was glad that the sun came out, so that he didn't move too far, because it would be a nightmare to try to relocate him through this block, especially if he went down into the drainage system. There's too many Tumbuti trees around here, and when they form a thicket, they're impenetrable. So luckily for us, I think today is going to be a good day, and it seems as though, if you were watching the pre-show, Tristan has already picked up on some male leopard tracks. Hopefully they're fresh ones that will indicate that there was a leopard moving in between game drive, and he'll be able to find them. Like I say, Ali and Tristan have incredible luck. I actually don't think it's luck. I think it's skill when it comes to tracking and finding leopards. They're very, very lucky. Me, on the other hand, well, I think I just get lucky every now and then. Sometimes tracking works for me. But how cool is this? It's been a very, very long time since we last had, of course, a cat to open up the show. Oh, look at that. Look how he's just looking up towards the sky. There's vultures circling above him. Now, we won't be able to see the vultures. They've obviously spotted him from the sky, so we'll keep an eye out on him. However, it's not just Tristan and I out driving about. James is also going to be joining us, so let's go across to the wide open plains of the Mara. Thank you, Tristan. At least you didn't call my hair yellow. Remember that one time Brent said I had yellow hair? It was very funny. I found it quite hilarious. But yes, well, I suppose Tinyo and our hair's, his mane is maybe similar to mine. I think it's slightly messier. He doesn't put a brush through it, of course, although sometimes I can't even get a brush through my hair. It gets like a bird's nest. But wasn't that amazing? Just before we sent you across to James, now, Sebastian and I have been discussing it quite a bit now, since you've left us. When he turned and looked up towards the sky, how did he know that those vultures were up there? Because those vultures were far away. They were just black dots in the sky to Sebastian and I. Did he hear them because he had his eyes closed, or did he just open one of them and happen to spot that dot in the very far distance? Because it was absolutely incredible, the response that he had. And cats often do that. Cats will use birds to try and find food, and vice versa. Vultures will search for predators to try and find their next meal too. Perhaps they've already flown past him today and realized that he hasn't got a kill nearby, or that he's just hiding it very well. We know that he doesn't have a kill, but remember, we often see the big cats dragging carcasses and hiding them underneath trees, or if you're a leopard, you'll hide it in a tree that has lots of leaves to conceal it from the vultures. But they've all moved off now. They've gone into a different area. And also that those vultures are able to see so well from as far up in the sky as what they were. But it's quite warm now. The breeze that we started getting this morning has almost completely died down now. There's just the grass is slightly moving, and it is nice. It's a little bit cool, but I think he's going to rest for quite some time. I think Sebastian said he's going to start moving at about 5 o'clock. I reckon around 4:30 we might get some yawns and grooming. But we have a question from Jeffa, and the question is, do lion coalitions add another member to the coalition when one of them dies? Not necessarily. However, I don't think it's not very common at all to replace a member. And remember, the Birminghams at one point used to be 5, but unfortunately one of them succumbed to a buffalo injury, and passed on, leaving just the 4 of them, and they haven't found a replacement, though a replacement is not necessary. He's looking at the vultures again, but again, you won't be able to see them. They're straight above the camera, which is virtually impossible to get. But what I have seen, which is quite interesting, and I've told the story before, when I was guiding down in the southern sector of the sands, there were 2 old male lions that were, I suppose, in their retirement years, just as Mvula is in. They weren't really marking territories anymore. They'd occasionally roar, but they weren't interested in finding some females. They were well past that. They couldn't compete with the younger males in the area. And what they ended up doing, these 2 males, they aren't related at all, joined up, which I thought was quite interesting. And at a late age, I mean, the one was about 12 and the other male must have been about 10 years old. And within a couple of months, we started to see them hanging around together. Then they were inseparable. So how amazing is that? That 2 males from completely different walks of life, sort of their paths joined, and they decided, well, we're getting old now. We're not interested in the ladies. It's easier to hunt if there's 2 of us. Why don't we just join up? And that's exactly what they did. They eventually disappeared. And I think they went into Kruger, around the Paul Kruger gate, and I haven't heard of them or seen any pictures of them since, so perhaps they passed on. They were quite old though too, like I said, 10 and 12. That's sort of the end of the life expectancy of a male lion. But as this boy sits here and pants away, he's not just panting. We're unfortunately sitting downwind of him too, so you can imagine the smells that arise every now and then. It's I don't know if it's actually the lion or if Sebastian's just blaming Tinyo.
If it would be me, then please take me to the hospital.
Or is it me? Yeah, exactly. Seb says if it was him, he needs to be rushed to the emergency room. Yeah, it smells like your intestines are rotting. But that's what happens when you feed on a diet of just protein. And for any of you that perhaps have young sons that are into gymming and need to supplement their diet with protein shakes, you will know then what your sons, or maybe you are just at the gym, you'll know exactly what your flatulence smell like. It's not particularly pleasant, and it's not pleasant with the lion either. Now, an interesting question, and hopefully Tinyo will open his mouth for this one. It's from Martin, all the way in Texas, and it is, do lions get food stuck in their teeth? I'm sure. Oh my goodness, he stinks. That was a bad one, hey Seb?
Yes.
Shoo. My goodness, I'm going to have to get a mask on or something, or at least maybe hold a nice smelling flower to my nose while we sit here. Sorry, Martin. We will of course not have to worry about that. Maybe we'll reposition at some point. And so sorry, Martin. So I'm sure they do. They've obviously got teeth that specialize in cutting the flesh, and then they're sort of able to tear it and swallow it. So I'm sure to an extent they get all types of things stuck in their teeth, but I don't think it bothers them as much as it bothers us as humans. I mean, that's we always put toothpicks out of the table before you go to bed at night. You floss your teeth well. You should be flossing your teeth if there are any children watching. You must remember to floss your teeth, otherwise the tooth fairy or the tooth mouse won't come and visit you. And yes, digressed severely there. But yeah, so it's very important for us, but for them, it's not necessarily the case at all. They're all right. Now he's staring at me every time I move. Maybe he's admiring my long ponytail. I don't have a door, so if I do shuffle, he can see these movements. So it's not like I'm completely concealed. I'm not standing up and breaking the silhouette. But remember, the way that a lion's eyesight is designed is they pick up the slightest movement very easily. So even the way that I talk with my hands, I often have to watch myself when I'm in a cat sighting and put my hands under my arms, or I have to sit on them. Otherwise they do start watching. I've had it before where I was talking and I was so excited, and my tracker said to me, Mafazi, he always used to call me Mafazi, which is, it means woman, but when the Shangani men say it to you, it's like a term of endearment. They don't mean it in a disrespectful way at all. And he says, Mafazi, watch your hands. So I'm like, oh, what are you talking about? And this female lion from the Southern Pride was just going like this. She was sitting quite a distance away. She was just following me. She was just, oh, that's very interesting, whatever I'm doing with my hands. So it's always important to make sure that that you are careful. But he doesn't seem to be bothered by us, barring when he stares up at the vultures that are flying ahead. He looks down at us. Oh, he looks across at us. But he's more worried about catching some Z's this afternoon. And I'm sure he's hoping that uncomfortable, full feeling will disappear. I've always wondered, and this is obviously something that we can't tell, we can't ask a lion, we can't really communicate with them at all, but you know what happens when you overeat. Often it ends up in a stomach ache. And I wonder if they at any point in their life also get severe cramps from overindulging. What do you think, Seb? Or do you think that they're just so used to eating like that, that's the way, that it's nothing no more? You think they're used to it? Yeah. Just I always think about these things, because obviously I try and think how I feel after a big meal, and I go, phew, I had a belly, that's like eating the entire turkey at Christmas yourself, with all the sides, with the roast potatoes and the pumpkin and anything else that you like to have with it. He's had it all. He's had a 5-course meal for 5 people, but he's eaten it just himself. That's what he looks like at the moment. There seems to be also a few more flies buzzing about today. He's twitching his ears, his tail is moving quite vigorously. He's not enjoying them. Now, Jonathan, who's only 11 years old, all the way from Alabama, you're wondering, what do I think this lion would do if I were to walk up towards him? Well, Jonathan, if I were to step out of the car right now, he'd get up and he'd run away. I'm almost certain about that. Look, he's going to do a big rollover now. And the reason for this is, first I'm going to give him a fright. Oh, that smells so terrible. We need smell-o-vision. That needs to be created, because then it'll be a more real-life safari, don't you think? Imagine sitting at your computer getting these smells. It'd be wonderful. So he would run away, and if I maybe came from a distance, say I was doing a bushwalk with guests, or I was out with Herbie and we were tracking and we were walking about, he'd probably also get up and move slightly, or he might start growling at us. He won't just attack you. He will tell you if he's unhappy with you. But if you're going to give a lion a fright, they're just like a normal house cat. They will jump up and rush away. So I'm not too worried about that. But you should never just walk up to a lion, especially a wild lion, or any lion. It doesn't matter if it's tame, in inverted commas, because I don't think there's any such thing as a tame lion or a tame tiger or leopard. I think these animals you aren't able to domesticate. Isn't that beautiful? So rather don't walk up to an animal. That's why we've got the cars, and they're habituated to the vehicles. So that means that they're used to us. They don't see us as food. When you look at me like that, though, surely you don't have room for Sebastian and I in that belly of yours. His skin can only stretch so much, and I reckon that it's at the maximum stretching point now. But lying on your back like that probably relieves some sort of, or provides some comfort. I know that's the first thing that we do. You undo the top button of your pants, loosen your belt, and you lay on your back on the couch, and then you fall asleep after a big meal. But he's not a small lion. I really did forget how big these lions can honestly get. It's a very humbling experience. I always talk about feeling humbled around elephants, but you feel small and helpless when you're sitting only a couple of meters away from the greatest cat in Africa. Well, we'll stay with him for a little bit longer. Maybe he does another rollover, or perhaps he twitches his ears. Very exciting. We're going to send you across now to Tristan, who's on the search for leopards. He hasn't dropped any more darts, Tristan. Well, there we go. That is a very South African saying for you. I'm sure you can all work out what Tristan was referring to. In case you were wondering about the strange lingo that we normally will speak. There we go. That's one of the weird things that we say. Well, I'm actually quite happy, Tristan. He doesn't seem to be lying in too much grass. And Tinyo, I must say thank you very much for that, because it would have been very difficult to try and get a decent view of him if he was laying maybe just 50 meters to the left, because there the grass is quite tall. So this patch is quite good over here. And hopefully he'll just sit up for us. You know, we've had him rolling over now. Hopefully the next roll will be onto his haunches. Maybe he sits up, does a stretch for us, and then flops down again. I'd be quite happy with that, of course. Most of you know it's very difficult to sit with a very flat cat, especially one like this with such a large belly. But again, I'm so reluctant to get up and move, because Murphy's Law, as soon as you do something like that, well, they get up, they leave you, and then you have no idea where they've disappeared to. And we also don't know what his route is going to be. That's going to be another challenging thing this afternoon, is that if we do decide to bumble away and try and find some elephants or perhaps just some general game, we do run the risk of losing him. So let's see. We won't leave just yet. We'll wait until another guide comes into the sighting, and then they can at least babysit him, I suppose, for 20 minutes or so, depending how long they can last with a sleeping cat. And then we'll have to come in afterwards again. But I don't think he'll move just yet. I think he's still got a bit of time of resting before he does move. Now, Izzy, you're wondering about the young Kahuma male. You're wondering if he will join the Birminghams when he grows up. No, probably not, because he's going to be direct competition to the Birmingham boys. Remember, one of the males will be his father. We're not sure which one, because both Tinyo and Mfumo were seen mating with the various females, well, just as many times as the rest of the Birmingham. Sorry, I got a little tickle in my throat there. So no, I don't think so. He'll have to go off on his own. Hopefully, the Nkuhumas have some more cubs, and then it might be lucky. Otherwise, he's going to have to go off on his own, which won't be very good. Remember, if he is on his own, the chances that he's going to make it are less. But if he's got some buddies with him that can help protect what was I going to say? Watch over his shoulder. That's what I actually wanted to say, but the words came out of my mouth way too quickly. Then they have a better chance. I was discussing it very briefly this morning, how difficult it is for young males to move about while they're still young and not able to control a territory of their own. They have to be very careful. I've seen many instances where younger boys get chased out without really a fight. You know, the big dominant males will just come in. They'll come in very loud, roaring, trying to act as big and scary as they can, because they also don't want to get into an unnecessary battle, because if they get injured, they could potentially die. So it's a tough one. But it's nice to see them. I think it's just amazing how these Birmingham boys are constantly on the move, and they've got quite a large piece of land that they do move around on. I mean, they traverse on Simbambili, they traverse on Arethusa, Little Gowrie, Hoffman's, Chitwa, Annette's, Cheetah Plains, all the way down Cheetah Plains, Torchwood, Buffels Hook, Djuma, of course, Chitwa, did I say Chitwa? They're all over this area, and sometimes they even pop into the Kruger National Park. That is a massive area, and I suppose that's why these males have to split up like they do, is because if they don't do that, they would never be able to completely travel their territory and make sure that there's no intruders coming through. Just trying to think, are there any... I'm not familiar with the Prides of Lions in the Western Sands, unfortunately. That's Tristan's forte, so perhaps you can go, when you guys see Tristan again, you can ask the question. Maybe Final Control can put a question through to Tristan from me and ask him who he thinks the next up-and-coming male lions will be that will push the Birminghams out. It's obviously a little bit, I suppose it's never really early, because anything can happen. A coalition could come from Kruger, could come from the Manuleti, come barging in and take the Birminghams out at any time. But maybe Tristan will have a better idea as to who could push up this way. Like I said, I know a lot of potential lion coalitions in the south. Check there, Seb, there's a kudu. Can you see it? All the way down there. We'll have a look, seeing as our lion's sleeping. There's a family of kudu that have just gone into the thicket. There should be more than just one of them. You go... Oh, there they are, just to the right of that big tree. Just moving down there. So typically there won't just be one. Kudu are quite gregarious, so they live in family groups. Now you're lucky that you're walking the other way, miss, because you don't obviously know that there's a lion here. She's upwind from this male lion, so she won't even be able to smell him. Oh, somebody got a fright. I think the kudu scared the Franklins, because the Franklins are now all alarming around there. But he's not reacting at all. Look at that. He hasn't even bothered to open his eyes to respond to that sound. But he's listening. But if something were to come walking up here, that would be quite nice for us, because I think he would try and take it down anyway. And this is also the area we were having a chat with Herbie today. Obviously, he was out helping us track, and he didn't come across anything. Obviously, he was hot on the heels of this male lion, and we were just in front of him. And he thought that those leopard tracks were actually coming in this direction too. And then we heard monkeys just towards the end of drive alarming just south from where we are now, around Twin Dams. So maybe those leopards, the male and female, those tracks that Herbie was on and Tristan were on this morning, maybe they're just there in the Mulwati somewhere. But we'll listen out if we do hear anything. There's lots of kudu actually moving in that area. Come this way, come kudu. If only I could do the kudu call. Oh, no, sorry, hang on, sorry everybody. Megan, the director, she was just talking to me very quickly. No, Megan, those monkeys were from the end of drive this morning. We told Herbie about them, that we heard them alarming. It sounded like maybe in the Mulwati, maybe south of Spaghetti Junction. I did tell Herbie, and I think he went to try and have a look around there, but he didn't have much luck during the day. So if you can just tell Tristan that. Tristan got very excited, I think, when I said monkeys alarming, because obviously he's got leopards on the brain, and that's all he wants to do, is he wants to find a spotted cat. Well, speaking of the man searching for cats, well, we've got one. We'll stay with Tinyo for a little bit longer, and I'll send you across to Tristan to see if he's got anything further to tell you. Taylor, you better watch yourself. Let's get a better view of him, though. I'm not going to be swatted in the face again by the same tree. You just look away. And we'll go through this gap where there's a break in the grass. Is that it? Yeah, I think that's the one. So you can see he hasn't really moved at all. It almost looks like he's actually sunk further into the ground now. He's becoming one with the soil. He looks very much like the color of the ground. And I do love this time of the year. Obviously, I talk about winter. I even talk about winter and summer and how much I love it. But one of the reasons why I do love it is just because of the colors. And I think that the lions are definitely the color of autumn. Well, typically a male lion with a bit of darkness in his mane. Very pretty. And with those golden yellow eyes, they just look exactly like the large fruited bush willow leaves at the moment. Perhaps we'll have to find a large fruited bush willow leaf that's nice and yellow so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But his breathing has not slowed down at all. He's still trying to, well, digest all of that food that's in his belly now. But at least he's looking healthy, which I suppose is a good thing. Minoski. That's a cool name. You're wondering why he is breathing so heavily. Well, we were chatting about it earlier, and it's just because when a lion or any of the cats gorge themselves, so their whole digestive system is designed that they can eat large quantities of meat in a very short period of time, and they digest it fairly quickly too. But that bulging stomach puts a lot of pressure on his other organs, like his diaphragm, so he's not able to take a deep breath. So he's got to do these short sort of... Well, he just proved me wrong there. Did you see? He took one deep breath. That was so funny. A big sigh. And probably thinking, Taylor has no idea what she's talking about. These silly guides, they say all these things, but none of them are true. So that's why he takes those short sort of breaths. And look at that big stretch. Yes, pause to the sky, please. And he's smiling. Chula Ann, he's smiling for you. Yes, there we go. Now you can see his lovely teeth and how he doesn't brush them. Naughty. And his tongue's also sticking out. He looks very relaxed at the moment. Maybe he's at that part where his alarm has gone off, but he's pressing snooze. Now we just have to figure out how many times he's going to press the snooze button before he eventually sits up and realizes that he has to get to work. Yay, Tesla. I was just about to ask Megan. I was about to say, Megan, has young Tesla been watching today? Because I haven't heard any questions for her, but she's pulled through. She's asked a question now. Tesla's also one of our other young viewers, and she was wondering, why isn't he lying in the shade? Well, Tesla, he doesn't need to worry about laying in the shade anymore because the sun is almost disappearing behind the horizon. So you can see there, And that's the go-away bird shouting in the background as well. There's the sun just in the corner behind some trees. So it's not hot anymore. He only wants to lay in the shade during the heat of the day. When it's too hot, then he'll find a spot to keep himself nice and cool. But for now, he doesn't have to worry about that. And that's why Tesla, I'm getting so excited, is because this is the time that he should wake up. But he's still getting there. He's not quite ready just yet. And that's all right. You can't force yourself to get up. And he really doesn't have a schedule either. He just does what he wants, when he wants, all day long. I don't know if I'd like to live like that. Would you, Sebastian?
No.
Nah, I like having a schedule, and I like having...
Too boring.
It is too boring, hey? I'd be lazy. I wouldn't do anything. Yeah, that's so attractive, Tinyo, when you pull a face like that. And then, of course, it's not. It almost looks like he's half snarling, but he isn't. He's still swatting away at the flies. Come on, boy, open your eyes. Give us a big yawn. Sebastian, should we see if we yawn, if he yawns? Now, seeing as though we're watching this young fella laze about on... Is it Wednesday? Yes, it is Wednesday. On this Wednesday afternoon, Jack, you're wondering, do lions just sleep all day? They can, especially if they've eaten a big meal like he's been feasting on a zebra carcass for a couple of days. So, yeah, they will. They'll sleep up to 18 to 20 hours every single day, and particularly the maximum length too, if they have caught something. So he actually might not even get up at all. You never know. Maybe he's just going to hang around here, go for a drink of water, come back and go to sleep again. But I doubt it. But you never know. You've always just got to add a what if, because there's always a what if in nature. But yeah, he'll just rest for now. He's been resting since... When did he lay down officially? Probably at about 9:15. He sat down because we had him towards the end of the sunrise safari this morning. He was moving. He had a drink of water at Treehouse Dam. He'd come from Hoffman's, and then he walked all the way over here, which is not far, maybe about a kilometer and a half as the crow flies, or the route that he's taken from Treehouse Dam. And then he's been resting for most of the day. So what is the time now? Almost basically 5 o'clock. We'll just say it's 5 o'clock. Let's go. So let's go with hoppers now. Hoppers 9, hoppers 10, hoppers 11, hoppers 12, hoppers 1, 2, 3. So he's been sleeping for 7.5 hours now. That's a pretty good nap, don't you think? I reckon he should have enough energy to get up, at least to go and walk to Chele Pan and have a drink of water. I'll be very happy with that even. Tinyo, I don't want to put too much pressure on you. You don't have to roar for us, though. Everybody would like it if you roared for them. But if you would just go up and drink some water, that would be very nice as well. Here's some crested francolins coming into the sighting now too. I don't think they even know that the lion is here. They're my favorite, sneaking into sighting. They're just over here. They're going to walk right up to him. Let's see how long it's going. I think I might have to do the Matrix. So that you can see them. There they are. Yes. Let's see. I'm actually going to... Let's just sit quietly because I know what they're going to do. They might panic at the sound of my voice too. Well, I won't stop talking. I'll just whisper. And I wonder how much of a fright they're going to get, or if they're just going to sneak past. They haven't seen him yet. To me, these birds are not the most intelligent birds. I don't know. They always seem like they're not concentrating when they should concentrate. And then they get massive frights. They're not far. This one is great. He's going full speed ahead towards the lion. Having a little dig. Found something delicious to eat over there. Oh my goodness. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now there's 4 now. Look at this. Look at this going right towards the lion. This thing is about 3 meters away from the lion now. Look at that. Let's see what they're going to do. If they've spotted it yet. The one in front has gone, I think something slightly suspicious here, but I'm not quite sure what it is. Tinyo's reacting to them now. He can obviously hear them. Oh my goodness. Look, there's the tip of his tail. Not that these would be too much. That's those crested francolins calling. They still don't know he's there. They have no idea. He's so camouflaged. Well, now they look a little bit hesitant. We're like, oh, that's a strange looking termite mound. Yes. You silly birds, it's a big male lion laying over there. Now they've realised. They probably went, oh, Frank, not again. We stared death right in the face. Well, not even the francolins could disturb Tinyo this afternoon. He literally just twitched an ear. He didn't even open his eyes. He didn't pop his head up. He didn't do anything. So I reckon if that's not going to wake him up, then, well, who knows what will. Right, what we're going to do now is we're going to go from one sleepy lion back across to James, who have found some lions that are slightly more playful. We do indeed have the golden mane lion. Look at him, he's standing right next to us, as in right next to the car. It is so cool. I'm so happy. Oh, hello. Are you going to give us a roar? And he left a present for us too. How lucky are we? He is really a beautiful, beautiful male lion. He's just listening at the moment. Beautiful big lion yawn. They definitely do it better than leopards. And what are you going to do now? He's just paused. Please don't use the luxury facilities right there. We are right downwind of you. Whew, thank you. That would have been terrible. I probably would have put that car... Oh, okay. I thought I was going to say I would have put that car into reverse quicker than any of you could have ever imagined. Now we're going to have to move. You know that, Seb, because I don't know if we can face Tinyo. We're basically right directly in the firing line right now. Let's go reposition. Seb, have you ever had to run away from a flatulent lion before? It's ridiculous. He did that on purpose. I'm telling you, he did that on purpose. We'll just go around again. But, well, there's the action, everyone. At least he stood up once for us and did a big yawn, and I hope you all got some good screen captures. We're not leaving, don't worry, in case you think I'm leaving. We're just going to go back around. Hopefully he'll stand up again. He hasn't started grooming himself, but all those yawns can be a good sign, though sometimes cats do this. They'll yawn, look, stretch, groom themselves, and then go back to sleep again. We've actually seen that on a number of different times with the Djuma pride. Here we go. Now, Tesla, who is 7 years old, of course, we were talking about Tesla with her long locks, golden locks, just like mine, her and Tula Ann. Have got the same colour hair. Anyways, your question was, will he eat birds? He will go after birds if he gets desperate, but at his size, he'd need to catch a southern ground hornbill, perhaps, or an ostrich. Maybe an ostrich to have a decent meal. But he's not really going to go after that when there's many other antelope that he can catch. Or he can go after a buffalo or a zebra. You see, he's very capable of taking down big animals all by himself. So, not at this age. But when they're younger, when they're like the age of the Nkuhuma cubs now, they're normally quite keen. But even they've started, I don't know if you could say, weaning off of birds. Because a couple of months ago, when those little lions, when they were little, they're not so little anymore, when they'd see any movement, they would jump up and start stalking, trying to, sort of practice their hunting skills. But they have stopped doing that for now, but perhaps something like a squirrel or even a mongoose would entice sub-adult lions and move a little bit quicker. Well, maybe he's going to get up again. We'll stay with him for a little bit longer. We're going to send you across to Tristan very quickly, who has not got a beautiful animal to show you, but he's got a beautiful skyline. A stern talking to. I feel as though if he's going to listen to anybody, it will probably be you. Now, even though Tinyo is just sitting here relaxing. The birds are chirping quite a bit. Now there's a bird that's calling. I'm going to wait for it to call again, and then we're going to have another quiz, but it's stopped for now. So I'm going to listen out for it. But even better, wouldn't it be great if you could hear the sounds of a lion calling into the night? That would be quite spectacular. But it's promising. He's moved a whole of 3 meters closer towards Chele Pan. At this rate, he'll be there in about 2 weeks to quench his thirst. Hopefully he does it sooner than that. He's gone back to sleep again. Now he looks like he's even deep in sleep. Hang on, there's some antelope alarming. I just want to listen out. I heard an impala snort. Not too far away from here, yeah. So I'm going to have to speak softly. So yeah, there's impala alarming. Let me tell Tristan. Tristan. Trying to find out where he is. Tristan for Taylor. So weird saying your own name sometimes. Sometimes I think I don't say my own name correctly. Megan, can you ask Tristan to get hold of me on the Game Drive radio, please? He doesn't seem to be responding to me. Oh, no, never mind. I think there'll be much chatter now. If you can please pass on a message for me, because I don't know if Tristan's going to get through to me now. They're having quite a bit of chat. There's some impala alarming just off of Weaver's Nest, just south of Pangolin Track. They're alarming on and off, so I don't know what they've seen. But we hear them every now and then. If he wants to come and have a look around. I know he's heading to the hyena den, so it might be completely out of his way. We're just playing broken telephone now via final control to get a message through Tristan. Thank you very much, Megan. That's very kind of you for passing along that message. They've gone quiet again now. They were alarming you, but didn't really care as to what they were alarming about. He's sound asleep now. See, now he hasn't got the bugs bothering him anymore, so he can really have a peaceful snooze. Yes, now the impala have gone quiet now. It's just the Franklins that are making a noise. Now, Justin, a question from you, and it is, what do I think Tinyo dreams about? Oh my goodness, I could get so creative with this. Right. Sebastian, you better start thinking of what you think Tinyo thinks about, because I'm going to ask you just now as well. I think Tinyo at the moment is dreaming about laying on the beach in the Bahamas with a cocktail in hand, reading a good book. No, I'm just joking. That's exactly what he's not thinking about. I'm actually not sure. But they do twitch, so it's quite funny. So sort of as your dog can have dreams, you know, when they start running, even though they're laying on the floor, or sort of making strange noises, lions can actually do the same thing. So I think at the moment he is just so full, and he's probably so happy that there are no more bugs. He doesn't have to worry about swishing his tail or twitching his ears or biting the air, swatting his paws onto his body. I think he's just enjoying the peace and quiet now, or planning his attack on those Franklins that are making a noise, because that could be keeping him awake. Remember, their hearing is so cute compared to ours, so I think that those Franklins are being horribly loud. I can't imagine what it must sound like to him. It must sound like somebody banging on a drum right next to your ear. Sorry about that, Tinyo, but I reckon if you walked over there, they'd probably get a fright and then fly into the trees. It might make a little bit of a noise, but that's what I think he's maybe thinking about. I'm probably not right, though, and I don't think any of us are ever able to really understand what the animals are thinking about.
I think he's dreaming about donkeys in pyjamas.
You think he's drinking?
Dreaming.
No. So Sebastian says that he's dreaming about donkeys in pajamas, and Project Alpha, you said that he's dreaming about drinking Pina Impalas. Very funny. Everybody is so witty. Look at you all go. That was very good. I wish I actually came up with that. I might save that and use it for another time, because that's pretty good. Very good. I'm going to have to make a note. Oh, you know, that's one thing that I haven't chatted about. I remember at one point when I first started at Wild Earth and I was trying to figure out the different characters, I would always say during a sighting, I'm just going to very quickly take a note and make a note about it. And I realised I actually haven't done that for quite some time. I should probably start again. Well, I do always take notes, but just in terms of the dynamics between the various animals out here. I'm actually looking through it now. I want to write somewhere though, and I have to find a pen. Pina Impala. There'll be a pen somewhere in here because I've got about 3 notebooks. Sorry, Tinyo, that was loud. I laughed way too loudly there. So Project Alpha, the rest of the comment was not only Pina Impalas and getting caught in the rain. Well, if he was in the Mara, he'd be getting caught in the rain. Out here, there's not a cloud in the sky, although this morning there were a couple of drops, but not too much. Right, where am I going to write Pina Impala? I think that can go under my... No, it can't go under my name. Trying to figure this all out. Pina Impala. Very clever. It's now official, it's in the book. And then I'll have to remind myself why I wrote that. Play on Pina Colada. Because I could maybe forget about this completely for months, and then I'll read it again and go, what on earth were you talking about, Taylor? And then it won't be funny. And who knows, one day I might snort out laughing inappropriately, which I normally do, which is always a great conversation starter. It always ends in me trying to defend myself or apologize as to why I did that. But very relaxed. Now he's just starting to open his eyes, or at least one of his eyes. No, I don't think it's actually completely open. I don't know if he's opened it voluntarily. His mane looks beautiful from this angle. Now, Jason, you're wondering if the scat around him, and there's a bit of impala dung around him, sort of will distract the flies. Maybe, possibly, but I don't think it's very moist. So the flies won't necessarily go onto dung that doesn't have any moisture. So like we see what butterflies do, we call it mud puddling, where they feed off of the various nutrients from sort of wet mud. Well, I suppose you can only get wet mud here, otherwise it's not really anything. Sorry, I just had a moment over there very quickly. Thinking out loud. I must remember I mustn't do that in public. Anyways, so and not necessarily. If it was maybe a blob of fresh elephant dung or a fresh buffalo patty on the ground, then possibly. But you know what he could do is maybe if he had a lighter, he could burn some elephant dung, and that would keep the flies away. That's what I do. That's my favourite thing in the whole world, is to burn elephant dung. I haven't done that in a very long time, although I suppose we haven't had too many problems with the flies, but summer is just around the corner, and those biting flies will be back, and we'll have to swat them away, the poor quarry branches, and African wattles, and all the other things that we use. Did you see that bird that just landed in that tree? You see this one that's dead? Mm-hmm. And there's a branch, a low branch that goes off to the left. I think there's a ground scraper thrush that's just landed in it. I don't know if we're going to see it because it's quite dark. Here we go, yeah, that branch. Who are you? Oh, it's not, it's a crested barbet. Ah, and off it goes. Yes, sorry, it wasn't a ground scraper thrush. That was a beautiful crested barbet. Not hanging around for too long, though. Probably off to find a place to sleep, as are the rest of the birds. Well, not all of the birds. Some of the birds are only just starting their night. All right, what are we going to do now? I don't think we're going to go anywhere. We might stay here for just a little bit longer, but we'll go across to Tristan, and for some reason he's managed to pick up tracks in the evening. There's another lion roaring in the distance, responding. was a great link.
The best link ever.
I don't know what to say really about that. That was fantastic. Thank you, Princess, for deciding to wake up Tinyo. My goodness. So there is another lion calling. I said to Sebastian a moment ago when he was putting on the infrared. That's why we're in black and white now too, in case you have just joined us and wondering what's going on. We've put the infrared lights on, and he was staring into the distance. And first I said to Sebastian, I said, he's looking at something. And then I went, no, wait, hang on. He's listening to something. So obviously he must have heard that other lion. But I couldn't hear anything because I listened out. But, you know, like we were talking about just a moment ago, their hearing is unbelievable. So that's obviously one of the other Birmingham boys responding to his call. So I suspect that the two of them will meet up. But I think the other Birmingham boy is going to have to come here and meet Tinyo, because he doesn't look like he's going anywhere at the moment. He even roared laying down. But it was a good spot that he decided to roar in, because his call would have travelled down into this drainage line, which we're just on the edge at. So I think it would have travelled even further. Amazing. Now I'm just listening to the guys on the radio. They're trying to figure out where these lions all are. But maybe that will mean we'll have some lions in the morning for the sunrise safari, and hopefully more than one. Wouldn't it be great to see some more Birmingham boys with Agama pride again? That would be absolutely spectacular. And I don't think that we're asking for too much. We've been very patient with the lions. And I think if that male lion that's calling in the distance roars again, we might get another roar out of him. I can't believe our luck. Patience, hey, Sebastian? Again, yes, patience has proved to us that it is completely worth it. Wow, wonderful. And now an anticlimax that he's just going to sit here and sleep. Di, you said it was a little bit of a lazy roar. It was indeed. He was laying down, but it just shows you it doesn't matter what position a lion is, it can still let out that bellowing call, which sends shivers down your spine, not my spine. It gives me goosebumps. Now the whole vehicle was vibrating. That's another thing. Hearing it as you watch, and I'm so glad that you got to hear a roar. But what I hope is, any of you ever do get to come on a safari in Africa, I hope that you get to hear a lion do a big roar and you can feel it. It's incredible. Jenny, you've said that you think that Tinyo was saying to the other lions to keep quiet. He's still sleeping. He's not ready to wake up just yet. Possibly. He definitely could have said that to him. He's closed his eyes again. He is not interested in anything else around him. So I'm really hoping that the lions down that way give another call, and maybe he'll stand up and actually just show his sort of full power and full size as he raises his head to the sky and starts calling. That would be in an ideal world, but I think we just need to be grateful that we got a roar out of him, because I didn't think we was going to get up and move at all, which is quite nice, quite special. Lovely, Laurie, you said that your 10-month-old grandson is smiling. Well, there we go. He's already no, the safari bug has already bitten him, even though he's never been here before. That's quite nice, actually. Anyone else have any interesting reactions from their pets at home? Or any kids, you know, what was their reactions to that big lion roar? You can let us know. You can hashtag Safari Live. I'd actually be quite interested to see what a cat or a dog must have done. Ruth, you say that Tinyo scared your puppy. Oh no, shame, did it tuck its tail between its legs and cower? That's so terrible. Now it's obviously an unfamiliar sound. A roar to most domesticated animals. They probably wouldn't have heard anything like that before, unless you live near a zoo and perhaps they've got lions, or you live on a game reserve. Lucky for your pets to live out in the bush. I think that must be one of the best lives. Now come on, boy. Sit up for us. Oh, there we go. A nice yawn. Listen to him. He's a very vocal lion, this. He likes to moan quite a bit. You hear him? Oh, it's so tiring. That's the voice that I imagine that Tinyo speaks in. I don't know why I think he sounds like that. Now, Izzy, you said that your cat ran out of the room. It's a good thing, because this is a much bigger cat. And he looks miserable. He actually looks like he's had a big night out and he's not quite ready to wake up just yet. Come on, one more big yawn. Open those eyes. You need an energy drink. Maybe he needs an energy drink. Just go for a run. That always helps. But now you can clearly see one of his key identifying features, that half moon in his right ear on the left-hand side of the screen. Very easy to see. See, the direction that he's staring in now, sort of due north, is where those lions are calling from. I want to sit quietly and see if I can hear them again. No, I can just hear crickets making lots of noise. I suspect that is the direction that he is going to move in if he does decide to move, though. I'm sure he'll want to check up on whichever lions those are calling, whether it's the Torchwood Pride, because I know the Torchwood Pride was found further north near the Manuleti boundary. I don't know if they've managed to find the Nkuhumas. They didn't find them this morning. No, they did find them this morning. I think they did find them this morning. I can't remember. The days are merging all into one now, and I can't remember what even happened yesterday. But look, yes, they're calling again. It's so far away that you won't be able to hear it. I think he might respond. Please respond one more time. Is he going to? The lion has just finished calling now. No, it doesn't seem like it. Those eyes are getting heavy again. Maybe he'll surprise us, though. One more yawn. At least he's looking a lot more lively now. I said to Sebastian at one point, with the way we had the camera framed while we weren't live, if you'd posted a picture, you could cause quite a stir with it, because it looked like he was just dead. Oh, there we go. And that is why I have the best job in the world.
Me too.
I don't think there is a job out there that can compare with what Sebastian and I do, what Tristan and Craig and the rest of the team, even the ladies in Final Control, who gets to sit in their office, let's put it in the director's perspective, and get to watch this amazing stuff all the time. It is very difficult to call what we do work. I'm not just saying this, I promise you, because when I go on holiday, I still do safari holidays, which I think is amazing. Seb, you have to reach over for a high five. That was great. That was the best kind of lion sighting that you can honestly get. To have him first, fast asleep, staring up at the vultures, seeing those beautiful golden eyes, to him stretching, rolling over, eventually giving us a big yawn, showing us a beautiful portrait, to ending off in a roar. I think asking him to go and have a sip of water might be asking too much.
Don't forget the darts.
Oh no, Sebastian said I mustn't forget the darts. We're not sitting downwind of him anymore. We made that mistake too many times today. Right, so Tristan, after taking much time to getting to the hyena den, he's finally bumbled on over there. I think he might have a surprise for you. We do. Oh my goodness, Tristan, you haven't had much luck with tyres today. Let's not have another incident and have to change another one. So you reverse out of that sighting. But what an exciting adventure it has been on the sunset safari, don't you all think? From hyena cubs to, well, the many stages of Tinyo, to animals at Chitwa Dam, birds, kudus grooming them, each other, and of course lions and elephants with James too. It's been fantastic, and I hope you've enjoyed it just as much as we have all out here. So remember to, of course, join us tomorrow, same time, same place, on the sunrise safari. We'll be here, we'll be waiting. Maybe the lions will be around, who knows? We'll see you all soon.